Hi everyone, Steve and Jamie here from Retro. We're going to take you through our first take on poker planning, which includes a new mechanic in Retro that enables you to hold cards and other objects in the bottom of the screen. So this template is not available right now. It's going to be showing up either next week or the week after, once we've ironed out a few issues with it to do with Macs and things. So what we're going to do now though is show you how it works and what it's like to use. So first I'll show you around. We've got a basic structure of a box full of stories that are the inputs. We want to get outputs of stories with estimations in story point form on the stories. At the moment, the best way to do that is to get your stories in is to just copy and paste them in and use the import function, either from CSV or from text. And you can use task cards like we're doing here, or you could use index cards, or you could use stickies, you can use whatever. And then output, I'll show you the end of how we output. Okay, so this is the planning poker area, and in this we've designated 8 slots, assuming there's 8 people doing it. If there's more, you could add a few more. At the bottom, we have a discussion box where we're going to place each item that we're discussing, which is the focus of the round. And then on the left, we have a bunch of poker chips, which we'll use to actually assign the decided upon estimation when we move it over to the output. At the top right, I've added a stopwatch. I'm not going to use it in this, I don't think, because I don't want the noise to go off in the video, but you could use this to time box your thought process, your discussion parts when everyone's thinking. And then we've got 2 buttons here, which I'll show you in a sec, and then the most important thing, which is this card pile. So in this board, I have enabled the hands function, and that enables me to hold stuff. So this is a new object which is called a card pile or card pack. And if I shift, I can't actually do that because I'm not facilitator. Never mind. If I click on it, it's going to essentially deal me a bunch of cards, which is a deck of the fairly well-known Fibonacci-esque poker planning set. So they appear at the bottom of the screen, and they are like attached to your view, so they're not zooming in and out with the camera. I can hover over them to look at them, and then if I basically click and drag on one, it comes off my hand, leaves my hand, and then comes onto the board, and it comes down face down, and I can place that in a slot or like any other object anywhere I want. And then if I'm ready to turn it over, I can press F, which stands for flip, and it'll flip it over. So you can see that I've placed an 8 there. So the essential process is we put a story in here, we talk about it, we vote on it anonymously, and then we all flip our cards over, and then we decide if there's a big discrepancy, what we're going to make it. If it's a no discrepancy, then it's easy. Okay, if I want to put something back in my hand, I can just drag it back in. All right, shall we start, Jamie?
Yep, let's go.
Okay, do you want to get the first story?
Yep.
Okay, so this is add SSO. So we've actually already done this, so I'm going to give it a low score, which I'm not supposed to tell you. Let's assume it's this one. Okay. All right, let's reveal. Oh, we're both 3. Okay, so we'll assign this as 3, and we'll move it over to here. Oops. Set that on it. All right, next one. Oh, okay, so there's these 2 buttons on the right that you can click to either purge your hand, if for some reason you want to do that, or if you click this, it's not going to make sense now that I've done that, but return all cards will return all of the cards in play back to the owner's hands, which now because I did that in that silly order, I've got 2 of that one. That'll make more sense next round when I do it right. All right, next story. Present mode. Have we done this? We have a follow function. Is this what we were talking about doing?
When you present and everyone sees what you're presenting.
Yeah, okay. Okay.
We should definitely choose the larger estimate.
All right. And then return all cards. So that card comes back to my hand, and it should come in order. So yeah, 8, 13. All right. Next, let's just do one more. brainstorm more hats. We don't have any. Oh yeah. Okay.
So this includes putting hats on people in the boards.
Oh, okay.
Oh, that changes it.
Okay, let's go with 8.
All right, we'll go with yours.
All right, so let's say we zoom through all these, and then we have a whole stack of stuff at the end. What we can do, if you want to pull these out to put into another tool, such as Jira or whatever the system you're using, you can select the objects in the box, right-click, export, choose. We want to export the task cards. We don't want the color or the author. Do we want the author? We want the title. We want the body. Whoops. And then we want the score. So we have this nearby token export column, which is kind of a clever column that will. Well, we're going to do points here. It will take the nearest token it can find within a certain radius or a certain distance and include it in the result set. So you can see, I guess, if I move this to the right, that, oh, it's because the token's down. There we go. Nearby token is, so MR16 has got 8, 15 has got 13, and 1 has got 3. So I could export those, including the points, as part of the data into CSV form or whatever, and then import that into Jira using the CSV import function, and it would essentially set my story points if you map the field correctly. So that's the basic functionality for now. In the coming weeks, maybe months, we would like to make this better, perhaps with more automation, but probably more likely to be integration with Jira and other systems so that you can get this stuff in and out without having to actually go through that step of exporting and importing. You can just pull them in from like a menu or something. And we also are going to use this functionality to do other templates. So this is the poker planning cards. Can you stop the meeting, Jamie, so I can edit stuff?
Yep.
But if you actually shift click on the cards, at the moment, this is temporary UI, but you can switch between a bunch of different preset types. So if I purge and then redeal, this is t-shirt sizes. So if you wanted to do t-shirt sizing instead of planning poker, you've got these here, which is like XL, XSS, ML, etc. We added a number 1 because, I don't know, you might want to use numbers. And then this one, I think, works, but it doesn't have any colors on. If you were looking at doing a kind of buy your sprint or buy your story thing, which uses these. So this is like the first iteration of using this. Eventually, I would like you to be able to add your own cards into packs as part of a template, so that you can kind of set things up how you like it rather than using what we define. Everything in MetroRetro we like to make so that users can build the same things that are in the templates. So these buttons are, at the moment, you can create them, but in the next couple of, well, I don't know when it's going to be, but in releases in the future, we'd like you to be able to actually, either using flowcharts or really simple scripting, to actually make these buttons do stuff so that your own templates can work as well. And just so you know, the card functionality, the hand functionality works with any object. So you could, for example, lay out a bunch of sticky notes and then bring them into your hand by just dragging to the bottom of the screen when the hand functionality is enabled. And then the sticky notes appear there instead of cards. And what this actually would enable you to do is do a retrospective where you write in your hand. So like you'd write your ideas like this. I don't know. And then you could take turns in placing them on the board instead of using the show hide functionality, because this is really more like what you do in real life if you were doing it in physical form. When an object comes into your hand, you take ownership of it, so it will have your name above it, even if it was someone else's sticky note when you hold it. And like I said, you can hold anything, so that includes things like the stopwatch, which kind of doesn't really make sense, but you can do that. And also you can start it and then put it in your hand and it will be going. You can't interact with it yet. And you can do stuff like put tokens in your hands. I could put all these in. Oops. And they just sort of sit there. So if you're doing an estimation session or like a team happiness thing where you want to give people a specific amount of things, you could ask them to pick them up. Oops, I'm going to try and do that. Or you could, in the future, perhaps write a button that will give everyone a certain set of things. And like you can actually do stuff like this, which I'm going to finish with, which is to put the whole thing in your hand, which doesn't really make sense and will completely bug out. Yeah, like that. Maybe something smaller, like this box. Yeah, so that's why we put this in a beta flag, because we haven't figured out what to do about all this behavior yet. But it's there if you want to play with it. We think it should be pretty usable in its current form, aside from this craziness. Okay, thanks for watching. See you in the next video.